our main concern here isn't just political, it's theological. We need to out-theology these guys. We need to out-Bible them. We need to out-gospel them. And if our worldview is true, if capitalism is true, then we will be able to out-Bible, out-theology, and out-gospel them.
I wanted to point out that there's something you're doing as far as your method that is not self-evident to a lot of people that are studying theology or philosophy or whatever, and that is that you named your premises. You already believe that capitalism is morally right, and you have reasons for believing that, and you don't mind starting your analysis of Scripture by saying, I already have some ideas about this. I'm going to see if Scripture contradicts that. I'm going to see if all these data points can be brought into alignment in a picture that makes sense. And that's something that a lot of people, unfortunately, the first thing out of their mouth will be, oh, you're interpreting Scripture through the lens of your worldview. I'm sorry, but what we're doing is honest and it's scientific.
Yeah, and that accusation from those others might be legitimate if I didn't have any good reasons, especially any good theological reasons to hold that capitalism is right and just, but that's not the case. My conviction that capitalism is right is grounded primarily in theological convictions about the nature of the gospel and the nature of God's justice in relation to the gospel. People are going to tend to think of this as primarily politically motivated, and in a sense, maybe rightfully so, in lack of reasons to think otherwise. For instance, Greg Forrester, I don't know if you guys remember, he was the guy who wrote that article on Jonathan Edwards and economic justice on the Gospel Coalition.
Yes.
And someone posted my response to him, and then he called me a ignoramus or something like that. And he said it was an ideological claptrap. He wrote a follow-up because he got so much pushback for that article. And in the follow-up, he was kind of saying, look, all these people are coming at this from a partisan position where you're either trying to fit the Bible into your conservative capitalist framework or your liberal socialist framework, and I'm trying to be above all that. What was his way of explaining it, and in a sense that might be legitimate, and or at least it seems legitimate. And so what we want to do is we want to emphasize our main concern here isn't just political, it's theological. And those theological concerns have political implications, but what he's doing there is he's sort of taking the theological high road, and we need to meet him there. We need to out-theology these guys. We need to out-Bible them. We need to out-gospel them. And if our worldview is true, if capitalism is true, then we will be able to out-Bible, out-theology, and out-gospel them. It has a lot of corollaries to the moral argument versus the pragmatic argument. Yes, we agree that they are aligned with each other, that there's no dichotomy between the two, but one is definitely more fundamental than the other, and it's more important to fight the battle on that level, and that's what we're doing here. So, and I think this is something that's really unique to what we're doing at FTNCI. Find me any conservative capitalist Christian who's going to argue for capitalism on theological grounds. I don't think there are many out there. Maybe at the Institute for Faith Work and Economics, but even there it's mostly going to be pointing to individual scriptural data points like let him who will not work not eat, and thou shalt not steal, and then sort of inferring private property. But it's still, even on that level, it's still on the social framework. It's still in terms of property rights and how we relate to other people, but it's not dealing with the moral and theological framework that establishes those things. And that's what I'm doing here. I want to say, no, there's something about the framework of the gospel and the way that the gospel works out theologically that demands these distinctions between justice and charity and things like that. So.